So with that, today we're going to go into health statistics, which is just simply more for the rider side of things. Didn't mean to click off that. So we're going to talk to the rider now. We've talked to the elephant with the dream stuff. Now we're going to go to talking to that rider or that logical side. So with that, of course, we got to review this mindfulness every time. It's just the non-judgmental awareness of what's happening in the present moment and being aware of being on automatic pilot, that you're not aware of where you're going, what you're doing, what you're eating, what you're working on. And again, as we've talked in the past, it's about not only nutrition and eating, but also as you're exercising, as you're doing activity, and then just life in general, making sure that you're just paying attention to everything that's going on around you, and focusing, just make sure that when you're making decisions, it's the decisions you actually want to make instead of the past creeping up and controlling us. And of course, we've talked about the elephant in the room, our lovely emotional side, and then our analytical side of the rider who's going to try to ride this beast. So today we're talking the analytical side or the rider side because, again, the rider has limited amount of energy, and obviously, especially compared to the emotional side, but we still got to enforce the rider so that when things get tough, it can continue to work, that it doesn't give in to the elephant. So that's going to be today's talk, is more looking at some of those numbers, some of the statistics, some of the information that this rider is going to need in order to try to get the elephant to come along on the journey. And last time we talked about the elephant, and we know that as we have our dreams in our hand and we decide that we're going to try to make a run for our goals down here, that there's going to be several things in the way. It's not going to be a smooth, easy ride. We're always going to have some of these issues like relatives and friends that pop up that try to either help us or dissuade us, or even when they're helping, they can dissuade us by saying, it's not safe, or don't do that, or don't, we don't want to see you get your feelings hurt. But then there's other things that we've talked about in the dream blocks as far as guilt and fear, those considerations, roadblocks, things that are going to get in the way. And then society as a whole. I think it's interesting now, if you pay attention driving around, how many fast food restaurants there are, how much we're bombarded with advertisements and stuff like that. So it's always hitting us, so we got to make sure that we're fully aware. And again, it's not to dwell on this stuff, it's just to know that it's out there and to be mindful of it so that you can have some strategies in place to try to get you past all this to actually reach your goals, which is our ultimate, where we want to end up. And then last time we talked about the most difficult thing is to know yourself, and we talked about the SWOT, personal SWOT analysis, and doing those strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and also taking a look at those untapped or dormant talents, and then also our blind spots of knowing that those things we can't see ourselves, that we need somebody else's help to show us either those strengths we don't know we have, or the weaknesses we don't know we have, or maybe those talents that we're not really in tune with, but somebody that we trust that can say, help point those out. It's kind of the role of a coach, right, in life, if you think of it that way, that the coach is trying to get your maximal performance out of you. So it would be like that life coach person that can see that potential in you that you just need to develop. So it's always awesome if you have that person available in your life. So if you don't have one, go ahead and try to identify that person. So today, this is in the book, and I've talked about this several times. This shows you the power of simple things we do in our day-to-day living. It's the 7 health factors for longevity. And it's a really simple test. You just count the number of these things that you do routinely. So again, if it's something you have to think about, then you don't do it routinely. So We're going to go through these. Just keep track of how many of these things that you do on a daily basis or routinely. So do you get 6.5 to 8 hours of sleep a night? There's research, it used to be 8 hours, but there's some research that shows that we can get by with as little as 6.5 hours of sleep. Most of the research now points to this range of sleep, for anything under 6.5 being too little and anything over 8 being too much on an average basis. Now, it's not saying that occasionally you don't sleep in and get those few extra hours, but just on a routine basis, are you in this ballpark? The second one is not eat unhealthy foods between meals. When this research was done, it was actually not eat between meals, but we now know that. We do want people eating nutritious snacks to keep that blood sugar levels stable. So not eat unhealthy foods between meals is another big one. Do you do that? So if you snack on healthy foods, then you still get this one. Eat breakfast regularly. I know this is a big one for a lot of people, that they skip breakfast on a regular basis, but for this point right now, if you eat breakfast regularly, you get a point. Maintain proper weight. A lot of room. We're going to talk about this in a little bit more, but for right now, are you happy with the weight that you have? Are you at what you would consider an appropriate weight? Exercise regularly. Hopefully you all pass this now, since you're coming into the clinic more than this. But you should be getting it. The standards are 150 minutes of moderate exercise a week. So by coming in 3 times, you're already past this limit. So, but think before you started this program where you were at. The next one's moderate to no use of alcohol, less than 2 drinks per day. I always joke when I give this talk that that's not cumulative, even though sometimes we do that. But it's just 2 drinks per day, or no use of alcohol, and then not smoking and not using tobacco. So sum those up real quick, and let's take a look at these. So of those 7 things, how many of those do you do? So are you in the 0 to 2 realm? Are you in the 3 to 4 realm? Do you do 5 of those, 6 of those, 7 of those? Looks like we got some. Give a couple more minutes here for everybody to vote. Well, looks good. Okay, so you guys are. So it looks like we're kind of evenly split. Wow, we just got a 7 in there. All right, so it looks like we got lots of 6s, some 5s, and some 7s, and then a 3, 4. So probably pretty much an even distribution across the board there of everything from 3 till 7. So the reason that's important, we get to on the next slide. So this calculates your health age based on this research these guys did. So how this works is you take your current age, so let's say you're 40 years old. If you did, there was a few people that said they did all 7 of those. If you do all 7 of those, your health age is actually a minus 12 off your chronological age. If you do 6 of them, your health age is minus 0.52. If you had 5 of them, you're pretty much a push. If you did 4 of them, you add 5 years to your life. If you do 3 of them, you'd add 10 years. And if you add 0 to 2 of them, you'd add 19 years. So basically, down to this scale, if your current age is 40, you'd see what your calculated health age is. 0 to 2, your health age is 59. If you were some of the people with the 4s, your health age is 45. If you are 5s, you're basically a push. You're the same health age as you are chronological age. But check it out. If you were the 7s, then your health age is actually 27. And you see how that goes up as we get older. There's an extrapolation of that. So I changed this just for because I'm more of a graph kind of guy. So I turned it into a graph, and you can see the power of this. Here's that 40-year-old, and if they do 0 to 2, or if they do all 7 of those habits, their health age is 27. If they do all 7 of those habits, or 0 to 2 of those habits, their health age is almost 60. Where it gets interesting is you can see the compounding interest of these 7 habits as we get older. So by age 60, if we're still only doing 2 of those habits, our health age is actually 85. Whereas if we do all 7 of those habits at 60 years old, our health age is actually only 45. And then you can see the 3s, 4s, 5s, 6s, and 7s. So there's always like a break-even. 5 is the break-even point. And if you do 5 of those, your health age matches your chronological age, or is really close. But the 0 to 2s and then the 7s are the ones that really get the full benefit. So it shows you the huge power of 7 simple health factors. So let's go back real quick and review those again. So here they are again, just so you can review what they are. So remember, it's sleeping 6 to 8 hours a night, snacking only on healthy foods, eating breakfast regularly, maintaining a proper weight, exercising regularly, getting over 150 minutes of exercise a week, controlling or not using alcohol, and then not using any tobacco products. That's what can either accelerate or decelerate. You can either add years or subtract years, right, off your aging. So you can accelerate your aging, or you can decelerate or slow down your aging, just based on those 7 habits. So pretty powerful stuff. It's kind of an eye-opener for a lot of people, but just shows how our daily habits have a huge impact on the outcomes we're looking for.